during my time, I believe that bodybuilding was a health-oriented sport.
When we go back to the origins of bodybuilding, fitness and health used to be key elements of the sport. I mean, think about it. The healthier you are, the better position your body is in to build muscle. If you're too fat, too skinny, or for whatever reason living an unhealthy lifestyle, your performance in the gym and your physique is going to suffer. Old school bodybuilders before the 1960s saw bodybuilding and health as one and the same. But then steroids came on the scene and everything started to change. Slowly at first, but by the time we got to the 80s and the 90s, any semblance of what bodybuilding used to be was lost. The sport morphed into a freaky, bloated, and drug-induced mess. Health was no longer a requirement, quite the opposite in fact. When a modern bodybuilder gets on stage nowadays, he is usually literally on the brink of death. The willingness to sacrifice your health and potentially take decades off your life has been a requirement for anyone wanting to compete in high-level bodybuilding for the last 50 years. It's very paradoxical when you think about it, because bodybuilding is in fact a healthy sport, but at the same time, the top-level competitors in the sport are some of the most unhealthy people. All of this can be blamed on one thing and one thing only: the drugs. Every professional bodybuilder is now their very own little chemistry experiment, where diet, training, and everything else pales in comparison to the importance of the drugs. And sure, we have this separate little niche branch called natural bodybuilding, which gets basically no mainstream attention. But even there, the drugs completely muddy the waters, as there is no way to definitively prove someone is a lifetime natural. And oftentimes these competitions can turn into seeing who is the most effective at hiding their drug use to pass the test. It's quite sad, but even though I consider myself a bodybuilder and I'm very passionate about what I do, I have no interest in competing or even following high-level bodybuilding. Thankfully though, I can still take inspiration from the silver and bronze era, basically anything before the 1950s. My goal is not just to build an impressive physique. I also want to live a long and healthy life. I want to be one of those jacked grandpas that's still strong and vibrant into his 70s. I really want to encourage any young guys watching this to stay on the natural path. Perhaps if enough of us are on board, we can change the perception of bodybuilding and take it back to its roots. It's easier to just think of enhanced bodybuilding as being a completely separate sport, one which does not represent or speak for the rest of us. Steve Reeves, John Grimek, Marvin Eder, Eugene Sandow, Bobby Pandour. These are the people I can relate to and actually look up to for inspiration. Not Sebum, not Ronnie Coleman, and not even Arnold. My friends, at the end of the day, no sport is worth cutting your life in half. No amount of gains, fame, or money can possibly make up for it. The most precious thing we have is time.
I believe if your genetic background didn't give you the hormones to build the kind of body you wanted without injecting other hormones into your body, you should take up some other sport like, I don't know, catching butterflies, ping pong, or whatever, you know.